Most retirees assume that if money feels tight in retirement, then the first thing they should cut would be, let's say, travel, or maybe dinners out, or maybe it's helping the grandkids, or small things that make retirement feel enjoyable. That's usually not where I'd start, because before you cut your lifestyle and enjoyment, there's one cost to look for first. We'll call it financial friction. Now, these are the costs that don't improve your life, but still quietly increase the amount that your portfolio needs to produce every month or every year to help maintain your lifestyle. Now, the strange part is that financial friction doesn't always feel like one big expense. It may look like a normal payment. It could be a subscription you forgot about. It could be that loan that you just keep rolling forward. It may be that cash sitting idle without a clear purpose. Maybe it's the insurance policy you haven't reviewed in a few years. Or there's financial complexity that simply makes every retirement decision harder than it needs to be. But once you connect those costs to your retirement income gap, it can change the way that you look at your entire retirement income plan. Because in retirement, everything matters. The expenses matter, the income matters, how much income you need, and how it increases or helps with the pressure you put on your portfolio. And the second part is what often gets missed. So let me show you what I mean. So imagine you're about to retire, and let's just add up your Social Security, your pension income, and if you have another ongoing, guaranteed, or very reliable income source, maybe a pension or annuity payments or rental income, then you can add up what you have coming in. And now second, let's add up what we have going out as far as the expenses. So just for quick, easy math, let's say we have $5,000 a month coming in on those guaranteed income sources, but we have $7,000 a month going out on the expenses. So real simple math. We got 7 going out, we got 5 coming in, we got $2,000 a month of gap. So this is what your portfolio needs to help you pay for, is paying for this annual income gap of $24,000 a year. Now, just to continue forward with the calculation, let's understand the withdrawal rate. So let's say we have $600,000, we have a $24,000 income gap. Real simple, 24 out of 600,000 is a 4% withdrawal rate. Now, depending on your age, your life expectancy, your risk level with your investments, your overall plan, this is probably pretty reasonable. Generally speaking, something in that 4 to 5% range can make a lot of sense for folks from a long-term sustainability standpoint. But here's a little twist. Let's say you just have another $500 a month of what we'll call financial friction in your plan that's not really easily being accounted for. So that's $6,000 per year. Now your income gap went from $24,000 to $30,000. But now, unfortunately, that's a small income gap increased on total dollars, but now your withdrawal rate went from 4% to 5%. So the same portfolio, you have the same retirement date, the markets are acting the same, but this one category of friction, financial friction, of hidden costs have changed the entire stress level of your long-term plan. So that's why the first cost to cut is not joy. It's not memories or the family trip. It's diving in and seeing if you have any financial friction. These expenses don't really improve your life, but they still increase your withdrawal rate. And so in this video, I want to walk you through 5 places that financial friction often hides before you start cutting the parts of your retirement that you actually enjoy. Find these first. Hi, I'm Chris Knight with Cornerstone Wealth Planning, and if you're approaching retirement and you want to understand how your expenses, your income gap, your liquid assets, your taxes, and that withdrawal rate calculation all work together, then this video will give you a practical place to start. And if you'd like help building a coordinated retirement plan that's around not just income and investments, but also your taxes, your Social Security, your healthcare planning and estate planning, then real simple, there's a link in the description where you can schedule a free call with our team. Okay, let's begin with the first place that we often find financial friction and where it could be hiding. So number 1, lazy cash. And technically, lazy cash is not an expense, but it certainly can act like one. Now, for peace of mind, many retirees keep a meaningful amount of money in cash, checking account, savings account, money market account. Now, that's not automatically wrong by any means. In fact, having cash is often very smart. You need money for your monthly bills, you want to have an emergency fund, a contingency fund, and you may even just have a conservative bucket so that you're not forced to sell investments, stock-oriented investments during a bad market. But the problem is when too much cash sits idle without having a clear purpose. Maybe it's earning almost nothing in those accounts. Maybe you haven't reviewed the rates of those in years. Maybe the money was parked there temporarily, but then you forgot to move it out. Now, all of those can quietly cost you lots and lots into the future. So if you have $100,000 sitting in cash and it could be earning perhaps 3 or 4% instead of about 0%, that may be a $3,000 or $4,000 swing per year to the upside. That $4,000, it could help pay for a trip, maybe insurance premiums, maybe healthcare costs, or just simply reduce how much you need to withdraw from your IRA and pay taxes on. Now, this doesn't mean that you should maybe chase every promotional rate that you see online, but it does mean you need to be more intentional. Ask yourself some questions. What cash do I need for monthly spending? What cash do I need for peace of mind in emergencies? And what cash is a part of my overall investment income plan? And what cash is just sitting there because I've really failed to review it from what I did in the past? That last category is where that money starts to leak. Now, the good news is this, is that fixing lazy cash doesn't require cutting quality of life. You don't skip a vacation or skip a dinner with the family. Actually, doing this helps you do more of those things. So you simply make idle money, start working harder is what you should do first. Number 2, look for unused subscriptions and automatic charges. Unused subscriptions and automatic charges may sound small if you look at one here, one there, but small recurring expenses can become big retirement math and expenses later on. And that's the $19 subscription that doesn't feel dangerous when you have one of those, or the other one that's $29 and then a $49 one here or there. But several of them together can quietly turn into $300, $400 a month. And in retirement, $400 a month isn't just $400, it's $4,800 a year that's added to that income gap. And so if your withdrawal rate target is 4%, that $4,800 of spending requires another $120,000 of total portfolio value to support it. And that's a lot of support. And so a handful of forgotten subscriptions could create the same portfolio demand as a 6-figure asset. And that's why expenses and cleaning these up can be so powerful. I'm not talking about having to track every single little coffee and every single little purchase here or there. I'm just talking about the one time to go back and review and look for these underlying charges that you don't think a lot about because they happened once and they keep happening going forward unless you do something about it. So perhaps looking at this maybe over the last 3 months, looking at your checking account, your credit card activity, and just highlight anything that you see that's a recurring expense. And when you do that, ask just a few questions. Number 1, do I still use this? If you do, keep it. Does this improve my life? If it does, keep it going forward. And then the last question maybe that's pretty powerful is, would I sign up for this again? And so many expenses just stay in our lives that are not very valuable because we don't do anything with them because they become pretty invisible. And these invisible expenses are dangerous in retirement because they increase your income need while unfortunately not increasing your retirement enjoyment. So number 3, look for any expensive debt that you should work through now versus letting it hang over your head in retirement. So this can be one of the biggest lifestyle savers. Many people focus on whether they have saved enough for retirement, but the amount that they need saved depends heavily on their expenses in retirement. And so these higher interest level of debts could be credit cards, high interest loans, personal loans, maybe even student loans from a child. So these can make up your retirement income gap much larger than it really needs to be. Now, for example, if you're carrying a $700 a month car payment into retirement, then add that up over 12 months, it's $8,400 a year. Using that same withdrawal rate of 4% as the goal, that makes the need of the liquid assets to be about $210,000 to support that. Now, does that mean that no retiree should ever just not have a car payment? No, simply not. That would be too simplistic. But sometimes keeping a low rate debt could make sense, but taking assets and paying off high rate debt could also make a lot of sense. And sometimes cash flow is more important than being debt free. And sometimes paying off debt creates tax issues if that money has to come out of an IRA account or 401k. So the key is that debt needs to be understood and a part of that retirement plan, not an afterthought. Because every debt payment increases your income gap, and every increase here of the income gap requires more pressure on your liquid assets or more liquid assets to start. So the question isn't just, should I pay off the loan? The better questions become, where would the payoff money come from? Would it create taxes? Would it reduce my needed emergency fund? How does that interact with my long-term withdrawal rate? Ultimately, does it provide me more peace of mind to pay it off? And these are all places that create much better conversation. If you want help walking through that kind of decision, then this is exactly what we help clients do. There's a link in the description where you can schedule a call with our team and to learn more about working together and understanding these key parts of your long-term retirement plan. Okay, let's keep going. We have number 4, understand insurance that maybe you haven't reviewed in a very long time. Now, this one requires lots of understanding and care. I'm not saying go cancel insurance by any means. That can be a very terrible idea. What I am saying is that retirement is a major transition point, and the insurance that you may have needed at 35 or 45 may not be the same insurance that you need at age 65 or 75. Maybe you still have an old life insurance policy from when the kids were young, the mortgage was much larger. Maybe that policy still serves a very specific, important purpose. Now, also, if you're thinking about it fully, maybe it doesn't at this point. And maybe you have cash value in those policies that should be evaluated as well. Maybe you have a disability insurance policy that made sense during your working years, but at this point, as the paychecks are likely to stop, it could be something that is an expense that you no longer need as well. And also, this pertains to things like your auto and homeowners coverage. If you haven't shopped those in many years, now as you have more assets, maybe you need larger deductibles, maybe you need more umbrella liability coverage, and looking at things longer term, like long-term care planning, making sure you're making the best Medicare choices, and understanding overall your legacy goals and estate planning, and making sure all that's reviewed and working together. So the word here is understanding how all this is integrated and working together for your retirement. Because insurance decisions shouldn't be made in isolation, meaning a life insurance policy might look unnecessary until you realize it is still needed for certain specific reasons in your surviving spouse. A long-term care strategy could look expensive until you compare it to the potential cost of care and what you've already paid into the policy. A Medicare decision even could look cheaper one way until you realize it limits your access to doctors that you really want to be able to see. So don't cut things blindly, but review them intentionally. You don't want to be underinsured, but you also want to stop paying for coverage that no longer supports your long-term plan. So in retirement, every ongoing premium truly needs a purpose. Bringing us to number 5, think about your complexity of your plan. And so complexity is looking at things that don't necessarily have a specific cost to them, but they require lots of mental energy and even perhaps physical energy to keep up with what's going on. Now, this often in financial purposes can show up as old 401ks and IRAs, and they're scattered across many former employers. You have your bank accounts that you haven't accessed and used for years that you used to have a long time ago. You have the investments that no longer match your income needs and your overall investment profile. You have concentrated stock positions that you earned at your employer, and you've been afraid to sell them because of income taxes or something like that. Now, this is also the random things. A random account here, a random fee there, a random policy over here, this random statement that maybe you get once a year from something that you can't quite put your fingers on what exactly it was. And unfortunately, for a lot of folks, also there's a random retirement income strategy with no clear understanding of what that looks like. So these financial costs can become very real. The mental costs could be even way higher because when your financial life is scattered, every financial decision feels harder. It could start with the lack of clarity around when can I retire? And then it transitions to which account should I spend from first? Which one makes the most tax sense? When should you claim Social Security? So it makes the most sense for you and your spouse. Should you really look at doing Roth conversions? Can you afford the trip? Is the house you're in the right one going forward? This complexity makes every answer financially feel very foggy. Fogginess creates fear. And we often help folks just start out by making a one-page financial plan or framework that can be used to help understand what all you have. And this really comes back to 4 general categories. What are your assets? What are your liabilities or debts? What's your guaranteed income in retirement? And what are your expenses? So if we start there by building out that one-page plan or balance sheet, then we focus on some key numbers here looking at the other side or overall your profit and loss statement is we look at your income, your assets, and then 3 terms, your income gap, your liquid assets you can draw from, and then what does that do for your withdrawal rate? What level are you withdrawing from your portfolio? Now, at the end of the day, usually for most folks, something in that 4 to 5% range for withdrawals certainly makes sense and can be long-term sustainable historically over 25, 30 plus year periods. So this can help whether your retirement plan is in a comfortable range or you need adjustments. That is what these calculations can help you do. And that's really where cutting financial friction becomes very strategic and tactical. You're not asking how can I spend less, you're asking which costs should I remove that can lower my income gap. And the key here is without lowering my quality of life. Keep the things you love. Keep the things you enjoy. Cut the things that just simply don't make sense, the forgotten things, the random things, that random forgotten subscription. Making the lazy cash work better. Getting rid of the unnecessary insurance policy that you just haven't quite called the 800 number on. Looking at and paying off those expensive debts. Finding that scattered account that has fees attached to it. Just decluttering that financial clutter. These costs drain your confidence without adding any happiness. So this is why I'm cautious when people say, I guess I'll just spend less in retirement. But spend less on what exactly? Is it less on travel, less time with your family, less generosity, less on your health, less on your personal convenience? Because again, that may not be the first move to make. So before you cut those things that make retirement meaningful and enjoyable, look for the costs that don't make retirement better for you. Those things can reduce the income gap without reducing any of your retirement life enjoyment. For an example, let's just say right now, total lifestyle costs are $7,500 a month, and your reliable income or guaranteed income is $5,500, so you have an income gap of $2,000 a month, which is $24,000 a year. So again, now if we have the same level we talked about earlier, $600,000 in liquid assets, that withdrawal rate, $24,000 out of $600,000 is 4%. Now imagine you find a $600 a month of financial friction that you can get rid of. That's $150 in subscriptions, that's $200 in insurance adjustments, it's $250 from paying off some higher debts by using some of the extra cash flow you have each month, go ahead and paying that off as fast as possible. So now your income gap drops from $2,000 a month to $1,400 a month. Instead of $24,000 a year, it's $16,800 a year. And here's the key. Your withdrawal rate dropped from 4% to 2.8%. Now that is not a small difference. That difference could mean more confidence, more flexibility, less stress when those markets have downturns, more room for taxes, unfortunately, for healthcare, and for the parts of retirement that you truly actually want to enjoy. And keep in mind, we cut financial friction. We didn't cut the family trip. We didn't cut the birthday dinners. We didn't cut the things in life that you work for. All we cut was the financial friction that was not helping you enjoy retirement. Now, there's one warning here. Don't make expense cuts without looking at the tax impact. So sometimes people try to reduce these expenses. Maybe they want to pay off a mortgage or a loan, but they have to pull from an IRA to make that happen. Not saying don't do it, but keep in mind what this impacts as well. So pulling a large amount from a tax-deferred account like an IRA or 401k could ultimately increase your taxable income, causing more of your Social Security to be taxable, maybe give you issues with Medicare premium surpluses or surcharges called IRMA. And you may have to ask yourself, if you look at everything all together, various accounts, various types of accounts, very tax impact, different ways of the accounts that you have, ask your question of what's the most tax efficient way to lower the income gap. So this is around retirement planning cannot be one dimensional. Your expenses connect to your income plan. Your income plan connects back to your income tax plan. Your taxes connect to Social Security. Your Social Security connects to your withdrawals. Your withdrawals connect to your overall investments. And your investments connect to your healthcare and your estate planning. It's all integrated. It's all coordinated. It all connects all together. And without this coordination, that's where often retirees can cut the wrong things. They cut joy before they cut waste. Lifestyle before complexity. They cut experiences before friction. So here's the little action step to take. Maybe take out your bank statements or credit card statements or look at them online. Look over the last 3 months or 90 days and just keep 3 columns. So column 1, should we keep this expense? Now these are things that support your life, your retirement, your health, your family, your faith, your travel, your hobbies, or they help your peace of mind. Column 2, let's call these the question column. So these are expenses that you're not sure about. Maybe you should cut them. And title 3 for column 3 is you want to cut them or renegotiate them. So these are the expenses that no longer earn their keep and have a place in your overall plan. Total up the number that you have in column 3, multiply by 12. That's your annual friction cost. Divide that by your liquid assets, and this helps you understand how much friction there is adding to your overall withdrawal rate. And once you see it that way, often the decision becomes very clear because you're not just canceling a subscription, you're not just lowering the cost of something else, but you're lowering out the pressure on your portfolio. Again, you're not just reviewing insurance, but you're protecting your income plan long term. You're not just simplifying accounts. You're reducing stress yourself and possibly for your surviving spouse later. And that's the real goal here. Not minimalism for the sake of minimalism or frugality just for the sake of frugality, but to create confidence, clarity, control, and joy. So before you cut your lifestyle, cut the cost that doesn't love you back. Cut the expense that doesn't improve your retirement. Going back to it again, cut the financial friction. And if you want help building this into a complete retirement plan, there's a link in the description where you can schedule a free call with us at Cornerstone Wealth Planning, where we will help you connect all the dots here around your expenses, your income gap, your liquid assets, that withdrawal rate calculation, your income taxes, Social Security, and your investments into one coordinated plan. Because retirement shouldn't feel like guesswork. It should feel like you know what you own, what you have coming in, what you have going out. You should know the calculation for your withdrawal rate, and you should understand what you have happening in your plan and whether that can help you support your long-term plan. And then it helps you understand what is truly financial friction and what is truly enjoyable and purposeful for you in your retirement. Making these decisions helps you have more freedom, and more freedom creates more peace of mind. And that's what we want you to have and enjoy in retirement. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.